Alright, in this tutorial I will teach you about the enemies, like how to add the enemies, how you can kill the enemies, and also how to get killed by the enemies. So let's get started. First of all, I will create a sprite for enemy. This red in color, let's keep it red in color. Alright, so let's resize it and actually make it small one, a small one. Right, we'll rename this as enemy. Also, I've just forgotten to name this floor, so just name it. And another thing is also there, like I'll just show you, the player actually can get outside the layout. See, it can actually get outside the layout, so this is unacceptable. What I will do is that I will select the behavior of the player and then add a behavior called bound to layout. Alright, now if you will see that I cannot go outside the boundary of the layout. Alright, now this enemy I will give a behavior of a platform because I want it to have the gravities and all those stuffs. However, I do not want to be controlled by my arrow keys, so the default control should be no. So the enemy is basically added. Just check out. Alright, see, the enemy is actually added. Also, as you can see, the player is going behind the enemy, and instead of manually changing the Z order every time like I did in the last video, what I can do is that I will add an event in the system, sorry, start of the layout. So on start of layout, I want an action that player Z order is going to move to top. That's it. So now you can see the player is actually in the front of the enemy, and it will be in front of any other object I add into this layout, or rather in this layer. And what are the layers, I will actually be talking about that later on, about the layers. Alright, as you can see, this is the layer. So as of now it has got only one layer. When I will be adding background and then the perspective and all the stuff, I will actually I mean not the perspective but the parallax, I believe it's parallax. So all those things I will be teaching you later on. So now let's do something with the enemy. As you can see, now the enemy is basically useless. It does not kill the player, nor can the player can kill the enemy. Nothing happens. Alright, so now what you will do is in the event section you will add an event. When the player is on collision with another object, that is with the enemy, destroy the player. Simple as that. Destroy. As simple as that. Also, I want to restart button, because after my player gets destroyed, I can actually make it so like that automatically the game will restart it, but I want to restart it manually. So I can also introduce the keyboard feature in this tutorial by doing that. So just go to keyboard and I will add one keyboard object, and what I will do is that, right, so in the keyboard on key pressed, and what key, I will be using R key for restart. You can use any other key if you want. So I will add an action, that is restart the layout, and also I will reset the global variables, because I want the coin to get to 0 once the uh, once the game restarts, because otherwise the global variable stays at it is as it is. So now you can see, so now it gets destroyed. When my player touches the enemy, it gets destroyed, and I will press R button and the game restarts. However, I cannot kill the enemy. Even if I jump on the top of the enemy, my player gets destroyed, so I cannot kill it. Alright, so I need to make another event, that is when my player is in collision with the enemy, and I will add another event, or rather another condition, the player is falling. In that case, enemy gets destroyed. Also, in the case when players get destroyed, when my player get destroyed on collision with the enemy, and another condition has to be checked, that is my player is not falling. So I will just click falling, and then I'll right click it and make it invert, so not falling. So basically what happens is that when my player collides with the enemy, and it is not falling, my player gets destroyed. But when my player collides with the enemy and the player is falling, and then the enemy gets destroyed, I will show you. So normally my player gets destroyed, no problem, like before. But when it is in the falling, like it's falling, now the enemy gets destroyed, not the player. So this is how you kill the enemy. Also, I want to add another effect, that I want the player to jump. After it lands on the enemy, after it kills the enemy, so the enemy gets destroyed, and the player set vector y to minus 650, and that is, I believe, is my jump strength. This is my jump strength, 650, and in construct 2 the coordinate system of y-axis is actually reverse. So basically as we go up, the coordinate of y-axis becomes negative, and as we go down, it becomes positive. For x is the conventional one, the right one is positive and the left one is negative. So now you can see that, or rather it should work, that when I jump on the enemy, it jumps, my player actually jumps above. Alright, now what is left? Okay, now let's make this enemy a bit smarter in the sense that I want to add another behavior, and that is sinusoidal. This sinusoidal sine. Alright, what it does is that it will make sure the player it will move in a sinusoidal fashion. Like, see, the enemy is moving in a sinusoidal fashion, like a pendulum. I can make it faster by decreasing its period, and the magnitude is 50. I can make it cover more distance if I increase the magnitude. So as you can see, it is faster now. So now my enemy is a bit more smarter than before. It's not just a dead block like it was before adding this behavior. Alright, so let's now make the enemy jump up randomly. It will make the game a bit more challenging. So add one event from system every x seconds. So this is going to happen every second, or rather every x amount of second. And what I will, as an interval, I can actually give a constant value like 1. So every 1 second it will be jumping up. Oh sorry, I did not put the jump event actually. Alright, so every 1 second enemy, simulate control in the platform under platform behavior, and jump. This is why I gave platform behavior. I can use its functions, but I do not need to control it with my arrow keys. So as you can see, every 1 second it jumps. Basically the time actually looks much less because it triggers the jump every 1 second, and after it land, I mean it triggers the jump every 1 second, and it takes the time to actually jump and then actually comes down. So basically 1 second gets spent in that. So basically 1 second gets spent. Alright, so what I'm going to do is that I will be increasing this time, or actually I will make it a random time. I will make it 1 plus random 5. So basically what random 5 will do is that it will generate a random number between 0 and 4. Alright, and it can also generate a decimal point like 1.5, 2.5. This is possible because it's not necessary that it will create only integer number. Then I will add 1 to it. So basically it will generate a random number between 1 to 5. If you do the calculation, it's very simple. And so it will create a random number. Now it will jump in a random interval. Yeah, as you can see, the interval is quite random. I can still kill the enemy like before. Alright then, so alright, for this tutorial I think this is enough for this tutorial. In the next tutorial I will be teaching you about the health system, I believe. Yes, I will be teaching you about the health, and because now the enemy can kill the player instantly and the player can also kill the enemy instantly. But what I want is that my player will not get killed instantly. Instead it will be having a health system. So if my health goes down, then only my player will actually get destroyed, or rather actually will get killed. So that was it from this video. See you in the next time.